Hey guys, it's Keisha, and today I am here with my July wrap-up. Now, I actually had a much better reading month in July than I felt like I did. I read a total of 7 books and 1 graphic novel, and I felt like I was in the biggest reading slump. I did not read a single book in almost 11 days in the beginning of July. Like, I didn't read my first book till like the 12th of the month. And then when I finished my last book, which was probably like 4 or 5 days ago, I haven't picked up a book since then either. So somehow in the middle of this month, I read a lot of books. So that's pretty impressive because I don't even know how I'm going to read for Booktubeathon because I am in the worst reading slump. Oh, does it ever get better? Let's go ahead and get started. So the book that kind of pulled me slightly out of my reading slump was kind of a funny book because most people don't pick up 1,000-page books when they're in a reading slump, but I did, and that is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Can't give you much of a summary of The Well of Ascension because, hello, spoilers. In this world, the bad guy won, and the world has been governed for over 1,000 years by the Lord Ruler. Our main characters, Ben and Kelsey, and a whole other cast of amazing characters come together to kind of try and overthrow this government. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I also gave The Well of Ascension 5 out of 5 stars, and I cannot wait to read the last book. As I was reading The Well of Ascension, I was really trying to hurry to finish it because I knew that The Heart of Betrayal was coming in the mail. This book is the second book in the Remnant Chronicles, and I'm not quite clear how many books in this series are going to come out. This book just came out on July 7th, I believe. This book just came out this month. It's the second book. The first book is The Kiss of Deception, which is right there. Once again, I can't give you much of a description of The Heart of Betrayal. However, if you are interested in the series, The Kiss of Deception follows our main character, Leah. Leah has been forced into an arranged marriage, and she decides that she does not want to do that. So her and her maid flee the castle and find themselves in kind of a beautiful, picturesque town where she is trying to make her own life being a barmaid. However, she does not know that 2 people are following her. The prince that she was supposed to marry and an assassin sent to kill her. She interacts with these people, and you read through all 3 of their point of views. However, you don't know who is the prince and who is the assassin until the very end. And let me tell you, it is mind-blowing. And as mind-blowing and as much as I gave The Kiss of Deception 5 out of 5 stars, I liked The Heart of Betrayal so much more. I don't know why. I didn't think that that was even possible. However, the series, I felt, just got more richer. You just found out so much more about the characters. And, Leah is like the most amazing character ever. She's strong, but she's not like those atypical, oh, I'm a badass type of strong character. She's kind of just as lost and just as scared as I feel like most girls would be. She makes actually pretty smart decisions, and this story is just absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend that you pick this up. So after The Heart of Betrayal, I was kind of finding myself in a book hangover because how do you top that, to be honest? So I went ahead and picked up The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman because it was super short, so I thought I would be able to just kind of make it through it and get back into reading. This book took me way longer than it should have. This follows our main character, and one of the cool things about this book is you never find out the main character's name. It's set through his perspective, and you never through the entire book find out what his name is. He had a traumatic event happen in his life that kind of takes him back to his childhood home. And in his childhood home, he starts to have these flashbacks and these memories of things that happened when he was a child that he had kind of suppressed. And this is a magical realism book, and I did not like it. This book a 2 out of 5 stars. I just did not find it very engaging. I didn't really find myself caring about the magical realism aspect or the little girl in the story, Buddy. I just didn't find myself buying into the story. I kind of found it more like not so much a well-done magical realism. I kind of more found it like towards like a weird childhood story you tell people, or like a childhood fable, but kind of a boring one. So I don't know, I just really did not find myself buying into this at all. And I just, meh, I didn't like it. So since The Ocean at the End of the Lane didn't pull me out of my reading slump, I thought maybe a graphic novel will. So I went ahead and picked up Fables Volume 1. I loved this so much. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars to begin with. Basically, this follows a bunch of fairy tale creatures been driven out of their homes and into, so now they're kind of living in New York City, which is very kind of an interesting premise. It kind of reminds me of Once Upon a Time. However, I feel like in Once Upon a Time, the characters are very true to who they are in their fairy book settings. And in this, like, the wolf's kind of a good guy, and Snow White's kind of, I feel like, little, you know, ambiguous, kind of a gray, morally gray character. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. This volume follows our main characters, Snow White and the Wolf, as they try and track down Snow White's sister, Rose Red, who's gone missing and is presumably dead. I really cannot stress how much I love this. I cannot wait to pick up the second volume. The next 2 books I have, I actually do not have physical copies of because I've lent them out to my friends. This one being Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is obviously a reread for me because I was still feeling like I was in a reading slump, because that's been my entire month trying to get out of this reading slump. And obviously 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I'm rereading the entire series as one of my New Year's resolutions, so obviously I've got a lot to go. I'm really hoping that Maureen Keevey does Merry Christmas to You, because I've been trying to hold off reading them as I'm going throughout the year to really push them and read them in December and finish out my year. But yeah, we'll see. The next book was actually our book club book of the month pick, and I actually picked it and I did not like it. And that was The Wrath in the Dawn by Marie Audier. Oh, this book has been getting so much hype on BookTube, and I did not like it at all. So this is about a king who every night weds a new bride and then at dawn has her executed. This follows our main character as she volunteers to be his bride to avenge her best friend who had been one of his executed brides. After she gets into the palace and meets the king, she realizes that things may not be all that they seem, and she kind of has to go into a battle on what she is now believing. Bruh, I hated this book so much. Like, I was so disappointed. And I'm not sure why. I just felt like there was no story. Like, there was no driving motion through the entire book. It was just kind of like slow. There was no plot until like the last 20 to 40 pages. Now those last 20 and 40 pages were really good, and I actually went to pick up the next book in the series. However, I could not give it a high rating. I think I gave it like a 2.5 maybe star rating. I couldn't give it a high rating off of those last 40 pages because the rest of the book was so dry for me. I felt like it was just nothing but like insta love and no, it wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Our jar pick of the month was to read a new to you author. As soon as I pulled this out of my jar, I knew instantly what book I wanted to read, and that was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This book is so good. Oh my gosh. So this follows our main character, Tate, as she goes to live with her brother, who is an airline pilot, and she meets his best friend who lives across the hall from her, and they kind of start a friends with benefits relationship. However, she has to follow 2 rules: that she cannot ask him about his past and that she can never expect a future out of them. However, Tate's a girl, so she does. I just say that this book is a new adult book, so there's a lot more like sex and everything. So if you are not a mature enough person to read that kind of book, do not pick this up. However, it had very steamy, kind of trashy scenes in it, but I could just not put it down. I ate this book up like it was no one's business. So now why everyone buzzes about Colleen Hoover and why her books are so described as addicting and fun, because they are. So I definitely look forward to reading more by her. The last book that I read this month was We Should Hang Out Sometime by Josh Sundquist. On my 2015 reading goals, one of the books is to read a nonfiction book, and as soon as I saw this book floating around the interwebs, I instantly knew that I wanted to read it. This is a nonfiction book about Josh, and at the age of 25, he comes to the realization that he's never had a real girlfriend. So he goes back to his old flames to kind of find out why things never worked out with them and why he is in the predicament where he's single and never had a girlfriend at 25. But to be honest, I was a little disappointed. It was hilarious and cringeworthy at times. I was just not a huge fan of the way that the story was laid out. There are lots of like rafts and stuff, which was super fun, but I don't know, I just felt the stories to be a little dry and maybe a little rushed. I don't know, I just wasn't a huge fan. Also, this book has a happy ending where Josh talks about Josh's wife or fiance, where it talks about Josh meeting his fiance, and there's only 4 pages about that, and I just felt like the ending was fairly rushed, so I ended up giving this like a 3 out of 5 stars. Alright guys, well that is all that I have for you now, and I will see you guys later this week with BookTubeathon!